everybody, this is Strategywizard and
Crazycraft.
And today, Crazycraft is going to be going over his
top 5 games.
Board game.
Oh yeah, board games.
Of all time.
Of all time!
Of his whopping 10 years of living. So,
so I still got a long time, so things could change. But
oh yeah, things.
Right now, this is going to be my top 5 favorite games of all time.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with your honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. First, we've got Mini Rogue. Now, Mini Rogue is a very, very cool game in my opinion because basically you get to go in dungeons and slaughter monsters and get experience. It's almost like a RPG board game.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of like an RPG roguelike, which is why it's called Mini Rogue. For anyone who plays
roguelikes a lot.
Yeah, for anyone who plays video games and knows what a roguelike is, you kind of get the idea. Because and the real deal is, the dungeon is different every time you play because it's randomly generated. But here with cards is how this one's done. So the cards come out. And you reveal them as you go deeper into the dungeon, and then you go to the next floor, and then you deal cards out and you reveal them. So you never know exactly what a floor is going to be like. So it gives you some randomness. There's different things that can happen, different events, different creatures, and even the bosses that you fight.
Yeah, they're in order.
Yeah,
I mean,
the order is random, and there's enough to where there's one or two that won't be in there each time. So
and each one has a different ability too.
So there's a good bit of variability each time you go through. Now it's up to 2 players, 1 to 2.
1 to 2 players, 14 plus. I mean, I don't think you actually have to be 14 plus.
To learn it, yes, but
yeah, to learn it,
I can learn and I teach it. He can play.
Yeah, overall it's pretty straightforward. So for just to play it, I'd say you could be like 4 years old and play it. Maybe 5 years old. Maybe.
Yeah. You'd have to have some help, of course.
You would have to have some help, but still.
But you could maybe. I would say 6. I could. Yeah.
Maybe even 7. Yeah.
Some of the decision making is not too complicated, and there's a lot of dice rolling, which anyone can do. Now, like I say, knowing all the nitty gritty details, that takes at least one older player to really be able to remember all those details and do it right.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in this game, but either way, it's pretty straightforward in my opinion. This is a great game, and I consider buying it.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you my opinion. This would actually be in my possibly top 20 to 30, maybe. It's going to be.
That's pretty good because you've played a lot of board, like all these games behind us, plus the games in front of us.
Yeah, that you can't see.
Yeah.
And others that I don't have that I've played, but Mini Rogue is just so well done for people who like roguelikes. This
Which
gives
we
you
like a lot. Roguelikes are one of our
favorite video game styles. Genres, and this one gives a feel of that roguelike experience surprisingly well, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, it gives you poison and curse effects.
Blindness, I think.
Yeah, there's blindness. You can get healed, and you're leveling up as you go.
And shopkeepers.
Yeah, there's shops where you can get money and buy and sell, and there's different
cool monsters to fight.
Yeah, and
rolling dice is really nice.
And there's traps, and there's just so much going on in here, and each.
It's almost like a video game just turned into a board, or a roguelike video game turned into a board game.
And the way each run, it can be. Oh, and there's also classes. So each run is different, not only because of the layout and all that stuff, but your character that you choose has a special ability. So you can choose a wizard, a knight, or a paladin, I think. And there's a rogue.
And there's expansions.
Yeah, we bought an expansion that gives a few more characters, more cards that can affect the dungeon, more bosses. And it just, honestly, I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed. So I can understand why he likes it so much. This deserves to be at least an honorable mention.
At least,
It's excellent.
This is a very good game.
So Mini Rogue, Strategywizard approved that it's on this list.
Yeah.
Okay, your other honorable mention?
Myth. Okay, I don't have it upside down.
Now, we've reviewed this back in the day, and maybe we'll put a notification here, a card here, that you can go back and look at it.
Yeah.
And back then, you gave it a huge rating. I think you gave it 40 out of 40 or something like that. You gave it
I always made some dumb rate. 1 million, I do 1 billion, jillion, quadrillion.
Yeah, and honestly, even then, I liked it, and I still do like it. It's a very unique game.
It's a very, very good game.
And you can check out our review, but what is it right now that you would say makes it so close to being in your top 5?
What makes it so close is that one thing that makes it really good is that, first of all, it's also got a decent bit of randomness.
Yeah.
In the sense of what you draw or what happens.
Yeah, what you draw out of other people's hands,
Yeah.
and the fact that there's a lot more player interaction here, because in Mini Rogue it's cooperative if it's 2 players. If you play 2 players cooperative, you're both going down together. Here, you're against each other, but there's a lot of player interaction trying to guess where do they hide the cards, who they give the cards to, especially the more players you have. The more players you have, the better in this game. You agree?
Yeah, I'd say so. For
sure. The more the better. It just adds a lot more mystery as to how people are hiding the cards in other people's hands,
and even a little bit of a story in a sense.
Yeah, and you can, and that's the thing. If you want to, you can even add a little of your own story to it as you're revealing the cards, and because there's a tiny bit of text on each card that kind of has a little story, like you found a monster or you found a magic item or whatever. So
or you found like a guy that it's kind of like a. I'm pretty sure there is something like there's a guy that kind of gives you some money or something.
Yeah, there's something that you get.
It's been a long time since I played it, but still. I like all the disasters too, like this golem right here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's one of those things where if we could have, 5 players, it would be really up there. 5 players is a good sweet spot. It's just, how many players can play? I can't even remember.
The players that can play, how many players?
Here. 2 to 5. Well, there you go. 5 is the maximum, and that.
I was kind of lucky that you said 5.
Yeah, because I know we've played with 5 before, and that is such a good number for this game because it gives you enough mystery as to where everything's going, but
and
not so. If there were more than 5, if it allowed more than 5, it would start probably getting a little tough because there's so many people to choose from to draw from.
Yeah, that'd be a little.
But it spread things too thin. But it's just that makes this game.
8 is fantasy, and I am a huge fan of fantasy.
Yeah, I like fantasy too.
Yeah.
And 2 players is fun. It's just not. It doesn't hit the mark.
You almost have to have 3 players in this game to really make it fun.
Yeah, to make it really good, you need 3 or more, and 4 and 5 is really good.
Yeah, that's like whoa.
So that's another Strategy Wizard approved choice.
Yeah, so both of those games are good. Now we're gonna go to the actual top 5 games.
So number 5.
Let's make it more epic by doing that creepy voice. Number 5. Ink and Gold. Ink and Gold is we've actually done a review of this maybe like 4 months ago, maybe 6.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even remember when. But
yeah, I think it's like 5-6 months ago. You can watch it. And this is a game about pushing your luck off the cliff. Oh, I think I just pushed my luck off. Man.
Ink and Gold is, of course, as we talked about then, is push your luck the game. I mean, that's really all the game is, but it does it so well.
Yeah, there's all these monsters, so you're going into a deep dungeon now. For some reason, that you kind of get a little mixed up with the card because one is like, it's like this. Well, it's kind of tough to explain, kind of, but it's like he's on this hill and he's. Whenever you're trying to decide, you want to go deeper in the dungeon or if you want to return, the cards that you reveal can be a little confusing for some people. Yeah.
But apart from that, the quality of the components is great. The push your luck aspect is amazing. It requires 3 players, which is unfortunate because we don't always have 3 players who are around that are willing to play. But whenever you do, 3 is good, but 4 or 5 is even better. Now it goes up to 8. I don't know how I would feel about 8. It might be good. I mean, it feels a little overwhelming.
It does, but 5 or 4 players does seem pretty good.
But I will say one thing that would be interesting about 8, if you even had one of the cards came up that had 5 treasures, normally you would split everything up, but if there's 5 treasures, you can't split that among 8 people. So that means there's going to be 5 treasures sitting there. If you drew a 7, there'd be 7 treasures sitting there. So if someone left, they would pick all that up. So having a lot of players would totally change the dynamic because you would get very
overwhelming.
You would get very little treasure from the card immediately.
Even like a 17
would give 1 for each person.
Gosh, and that's like the max. I'm pretty sure.
Or is that right? I'm sorry. If it was a 17, it'd be 2 for each person because there'd be 16, and then there'd be 1 left.
Yeah.
The point is, that's nothing. You get 2 from the best card. So in an 8-player game, what's way more valuable is the stuff that gets left behind because it's so hard to split up all that stuff. So it's about who leaves first.
The funny part is that if you did try to leave, and if a lot of people tried to leave, they would not get that treasure, and then the 2 people left then could get all the treasure.
Exactly. It would actually be a very different feeling game at high player counts. I would like to try it, but either way, it's just so good at what it does. Again, you can check out our review for this one too.
This is good. I would definitely recommend checking the review on this one. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. It's not in my top 10 or 20, but it's one of those games that I will probably always want to have because it's just really good. It does what it does so well.
Yeah. So this is definitely a top 5 game, at least.
Yeah.
At least. I like pushing my luck a lot.
Yep.
Next, top 4.
Number 4.
2 very boring minutes later. 1 eternity later.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
One-Eyed Ultimate Werewolf.
Yes.
Or Daybreak.
One-Eyed-
One-Eyed Ultimate Daybreak.
Or Werewolf.
Or Werewolf,
we have
yeah.
both, so we just
have
had that
both,
box.
yeah.
But so this game, for anyone who doesn't know, I know most people know about this game at this point, I'm sure, but this game is basically one of the quickest social deduction games that there is. You have an app, and you can do it without an app, but you have to have a game master. Not fun. You
Yeah.
want to use the app, free app that you can download, and basically what you're going to do
Is-
you're going to choose which characters you want in the game, and depending on how many players, you basically have a number of characters equal to how many players there are plus 3, because you're going to deal one character out to everybody, and then there'll be
And
3 in the middle.
Every character has a special ability.
Except for
Except for like maybe the villager.
yeah,
And
a regular
villains,
villager.
yeah.
A regular villager doesn't do anything, and a regular werewolf doesn't do anything. But everyone else, everyone's going to close their eyes, and the app will then tell everyone to open their eyes if it's their turn to do something, if their character can do something.
Yeah,
so
unlike the
people
villager.
will be moving things around sometimes. It might be looking at cards in the middle. And all of that stuff is going to add up to, at the end, everyone's going to wake up, and then you're going to have a discussion with everybody to figure out who's who. And the villager team is trying to find out who the werewolves are, if there are any. Because it could be the werewolves are all in the face-down tiles in the middle, in which case there's no one to kill.
Yeah.
The werewolves just want to not get killed. So, if a werewolf dies, the werewolf team loses, the villagers win. But if no one dies or a villager dies, then the werewolves win. So you're all discussing. You have a certain amount of time, a few minutes, to discuss it and figure out who you're going to point at
Now-
and try to kill. And then it's just a vote. Whoever gets the most votes dies.
Basically, yeah. Now the thing is, what's interesting is, basically, if there's 2 werewolves and 1 villager, they know that, we should just vote him out.
Yeah, because the werewolves,
Yeah.
2 regular werewolves will wake up in the middle of the night and they'll see each other and go, aha, we know we're on the same team.
Unless you have the witch, because the witch can swap cards.
Yeah, there's a lot of different people who can mess things up. There's the troublemaker can swap other people's tiles, so they won't know what they got, and the troublemaker doesn't get to look at them, so they don't know who they were either. They just know they mixed it up, and there's all kinds of different crazy things that can happen. But theoretically, if the werewolves see each other, they can be pretty confident that they just need to try to kill the other person and they'll win. But that's why the Tanner is a great thing for small groups.
Yeah, because the Tanner basically makes it to where if the werewolves or somebody kills him, he wins because his life is just so miserable. He's like, just put me out of my
He
misery.
hates his job so much that all he wants to do is die. So he's
Yeah.
trying to seem fishy. He wants to seem like he's a werewolf so that the other villagers will kill him. And it's hilarious because it adds such a level of uncertainty, because sometimes you do have 2 werewolves who are very confident that we'll just kill the other person. Well, they can't do that if the Tanner's in the game. Then they have to figure out, wait a second, is it the Tanner? And that's hard to figure out.
That is tough, because
and that's really the fun of the game, is you can put together what characters you want that really can affect the game in tons of different ways. You can add more randomness, like with the curator. The curator can give a random token to somebody.
Like the immunity. Well, there's a bunch, but I'm thinking of the mute thing where you can't talk.
There's like a curse of muteness or something like that, and you can't say anything. You can't
It's like
be part of the discussion.
Let's just say, let's just see this guy appears. But there's 3 players, and this guy appears, right? This guy up here is one of the players, and I'm like,
yeah, and that's all you can. And there's another one. What was it called? The cloak of shame, where you have to turn around. You can talk, but you have to turn around. You can't look at anybody. You can't. Whenever you try to point to vote, all you can do is point behind yourself and try to aim, and the other players have to decide who you're pointing at because you can't see. So there's the curator adds a bit of randomness. So you can focus on trying to have a more strategic group of characters that are more, getting information and then sharing that information, or you can add more randomness generating characters, but that's what keeps the game interesting.
And I want to also, you can finish.
Well, the point is that the game is so well designed that with all the different characters, and the player count goes up to some obnoxious numbers, 3 to 8 or something like that. 3 to 7 here, but you can actually go more when you have an expansion. I think you can double it maybe. So there's so much you can do here. It's ridiculous. And it makes the replay value insanely high. So I very much approve of this choice.
Very much.
This would be in my top 20 for sure.
Yeah, Zach and all of us played it like 7 times or something.
It was a lot.
In a row.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot. So this game definitely has a lot of replay.
Yeah, tons.
But I also want to mention the revealer. The revealer is he basically makes it to where he can reveal somebody and see.
As long as it's a good guy, he'll leave him face up for everyone to see at the end of the round.
But if it's a werewolf, he just flips it back
or
over.
Tanner.
Or Tanner.
Yeah,
or Tanner.
So he'll know, but he can't. There's no proof. So he'll say, "Oh, I know that's the case," and then other people can be like, "Really? No, I was the revealer and I did it." And so there's a lot of bluffing and chaos that can happen because of that. It's great stuff.
It is great.
So a very much approved choice. I like that one a lot.
Good. Now it's time to go to the top 3.
Number 3.
Let's see who's stronger. Let's do an arm wrestling because I just heard the.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he's stronger, but still. I could
Nice
too.
try.
Yeah, nice try. I tried, but.
What do we have next?
This one's kind of heavy. Catapult Feud.
Yes.
Whoops. I think I put it.
Yeah, we'll kind of, and then we'll put it back down because probably parts are probably falling all over the place. But anyway,
Catapult Feud is one of my favorite games because basically you build your castle. It's not like you just make a castle. You have to make it this way. You can build your castle in basically any way you want. So there's strategy in that case, but also you've got a catapult that you actually have to make. So if you're into crafting things, that's amazing.
Which, it's fairly simple to put together, but it is still a very cool thing.
So you basically want to destroy other people's castles. That's not the goal of the game. You have to actually kill these little minions right here. There's 2. You could say this is the good guy in a sense because you compare that to one of the wait, that's not it. One of the where is he? It's probably somewhere in here. This guy, yeah. Compared to this, he looks kind of, I don't know, this guy looks kind of mean. This guy just looks fancy. I don't know. So there's 2 teams, and basically you have to knock each other's castles. Whoa! Cannon! Whoa! Basically you have to knock each other's castles over. That way you can get to the troops, because you want to hydrate your troops well. You can't just have them up in the moat and, I mean, I guess you could. But
it's better to use your castle to protect them. The cool part about Catapult Feud, not only do you actually have a catapult that works, it actually functions, and it functions well.
Because
the little rubber band gives it the resistance it needs, so that whenever you put it back, it launches.
Yeah, it launches far. It launched all the way over there.
And so you're playing on total opposite sides of the table, and you're just launching each other, taking turns launching. And
you have to have a big table. You can't just play it across to right, like where you are, the perspective.
Yeah, you
have
need
to
a long
right here to all the way
over here.
Yeah,
it's a long. Yeah, it takes a lot of room, but man,
it is a great game.
The thing is, building the castle is cool because you can use all the different pieces to build it however you want. You could have different towers over here, or you could just kind of build a fortification that's double layered. That way it's harder to knock them down. You can do whatever you want, and you put your people all in there, and then you have these action cards that can give you bonuses. You'll be drawing cards that might give you double shot, or it might let you steal a card from your opponent. Might make it to where you can actually put some of your troops back up on the board. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but being able to this is just such a great.
It is. It's great quality. Even though you have to make it, we had to use this little rubber band thing.
Which it comes with it, yeah.
Yeah, it does. Now, I should probably also mention there's an expansion to this game, which is the crossbow, and
I think it's Ballista.
Oh yeah, Ballista, which it wouldn't really work at first.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, unfortunately.
We had to use some hot water.
Yeah, this little piece right here that you pull back, it was the rail here was too narrow. It was all bent in, and so we had to put this in. We had to boil some water, put it in it, and it made it very malleable. And then you just kind of spread it out, and then whenever it hardens back, and whenever it cools off, It's now perfectly straight. But at first, we did think we were not going to be able to use it. It was horrible. But
it was.
But once we did so if anyone else is having that issue that's played this game,
yeah.
it's fixable.
It's fixable.
You use hot water. But the ballista is really cool because you put this thing in here, and whenever you pull it back,
it's more accurate, I should say.
Whoa! It shoots very straight. So
now
that way you can focus on smashing their castle directly.
I think it has more power, but this is just good for trying to hit people's troops
behind the castle because it has more of an arc and goes over. So it's just really great. The component quality is awesome and very nice. So this is another one where I very much approve. Now it's not,
and you get castle pieces in the expansion.
Yeah, you get more castle pieces. You can build bigger castles, and it's just great.
Yeah, it's so good.
In my opinion, I don't know if this would make it into my top 20 or 30, but still. I really like it because there's not many dexterity type games like this that I like this much.
I like a lot of games that are kind of action based where you actually get to interact.
Do something physical.
It's not like, okay, I play this card, do 10 damage, I play this card,
which is probably why you like rolling dice too,
that
because you kind of get that action feeling whenever you're doing that.
I like a lot of games like whenever you have to like knock people's castles. Yes, did you see that castle? It just got knocked in the next century. Nice. And then stuff like, that's all even Ink can go to a certain extent because it's not turn-based at least. I mean, to a certain extent.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you like either where you can do something physical or where there's not long turns or there's no turns. It's just instant. Because in Ink and Gold, you reveal at the same time. You're just constantly all making the decision at the same time. What you don't like is whenever there's long turns where you have to wait. That's what you don't like.
Yeah, that's what
understandably so. I mean, you're a kid. You have a little less patience than other people.
Yeah, a little less, but still, Catapult Feud, and I still like games that are turn-based. It's not as much as these type of games. Catapult Feud stuff. I recommend buying it if you're the type that like kind of action and really fun games, activities, because it is definitely high up there for me. Top 3.
Or if you're like me and you played the video game Rampart back in the day and you always wanted to be able to have more of an actual way to launch and destroy other people's castles in a physical way, then this will help you scratch that itch.
Yeah. Scratch that! Yes, Catapult Feud helped. It just launched a cannon right at my head or a little ball, and then it, kind of made that itch go away. Yay!
And now
just made a hole through my head, but that's okay.
Now it's time for number 1.
No.
Huh? Oh, there's 2. Oh, yeah. Number 2.
Number 2.
We're getting ahead of the game.
Yeah, let's try that one myself again. See. Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Let's try again.
Yeah, I tried. Top 2 is Naruto. Well, yeah, number 2 is Naruto, the board game.
Ninja Arena?
Oh, yeah, Naruto Ninja Arena.
Because there are, I think, 2 Naruto board games at least. I know there was another one that we saw that Tom Vassell did a review of, and it's not this one. This is a newer one, I guess, by Japanimate Games. 2 to 6 players. We're not really doing a good job of doing all that. But anyway, 2 to 6 players, ages 10 plus, 15 minutes. What do you like about this? What makes this one so good?
This one, again, it's action, so, and I already like, okay, so I should just say the basic of this game. Basically, it's actually pretty straightforward. You roll dice, and you have to get, honestly, that's like the whole
game. And we did a review of this one, so
yeah.
So y'all can check out the review to see all.
In fact, it's last video, actually. It's the last video we made.
Okay.
So, basically, roll dice, and...
It's just been a while.
Yeah, it's just been a while. But basically, you roll dice, and you have to match whatever that die is or what it sells. Like if it's 3 red, you have to get 3 red, and then you do like 3 damage, and you get these little red gems.
Yeah, so yeah.
And you put 3 on them. That way you're like, okay.
That's what makes it cool because you pick a character, and if you watch Naruto, you're gonna have favorite characters, and a lot of the really main characters are here. So you're gonna which ours has the Genin expansion already built into it. So I don't even know what you get originally, but we have quite a few.
Like Naruto, Sakura,
Sasuke, and maybe one other person.
Shikamaru.
Maybe. But we have more than that because we have Gaara, and Tintin, Rock Lee,
Kiba,
and Hinata. So we go and what's her name?
Tamari.
Tamari, yeah. So we have a lot of characters. Each character has their own special ability. Each character has their own attacks that do different things. There's special effects. There can be healing. There can be protection. There can be splitting up damage amongst different people, more players. There's a lot going on, but you're all rolling at the same time. It's that simultaneous.
Yeah, that's what makes it so
You
fun.
can, as fast as you can roll and then match your attacks. That's
cool
how fast you're doing damage.
Some heal, like you can do 3 damage to you and heal 1.
Yeah, Hinata and Sakura both have
Yeah.
healing capabilities.
Or even, and you also have a special ability. So basically you have to get 1 of each, well, not every color. There are some colors you don't need, but there's 5 dice, so you have to get 5 colors of each. Now, again, not all of them, but basically like Kiba's, which is one of my favorites, instead of having to do like 3 red, now you can do 2 red.
Yeah, you can just take 1 die that you would formerly need and say, I'm not going to need that. You need 1 less die to complete an attack. So Kiba can suddenly start attacking really fast.
Yeah, which Kiba, I'd say he's pretty fast. Like, after all, he's a wolf. Wolves are fast.
Well, he's or he can. He can
Well, I guess his dog can transform.
Doesn't he do? Well, he does something I thought where he could. Oh, his dog can turn into a big dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always himself. But he's still got those wolf-like reflexes. So yeah, they try to make it to where everyone's attacks are kind of thematic, which is cool.
And the thing that's cool that you also get 2 characters in a 2-player game. In a 3-player game, you get 1 character for each player. But in a 2-player game, you actually get like 2 people.
Yeah.
And you have 2 people.
Yeah, normally everyone's just 1, but yeah, 2-player everyone gets 2.
And whenever people start whenever you think there's enough red gems, you just hit this little red circle thing and you go BAM! And then you count up the damage.
Well, yeah, if you do your super ability. Once you activate your super ability, and you want to wait until, because that's whenever damage gets triggered, is when you use your super ability and hit that red thing, everyone's damage except for yours gets triggered, and you see how much damage they took. You don't want to trigger it too soon. You want to try to make it to where they take as much damage as possible. However, sometimes it's worth triggering early if your special ability is just that good and you want to have it active.
Like Kiba's.
Yeah, because it helps you just do everything else faster. So
But if somebody else uses their ability, it cancels the other player's ability.
Yeah, and then you lose your special ability until you reactivate it. So there's a lot of great stuff in this game.
And if you see your characters getting close to dying,
you can swap out into a 2-player game.
Yeah, because if you see you're close to dying, if you just get 1 character KO'd,
it's over.
You lose the whole game.
So I will say this. I don't know that this would make it into my top 20 for sure. It might not make it in my top 30, but it is still a game that I'm very, very excited about. Just because I do like the real-time dice rolling. The fact that everyone.
Well, I just got to say, it helps that it's not normal ninjas. It helps that it's Naruto.
Yeah, the theme helps too. And I've got Escape Curse of the Temple, which is also a simultaneous dice rolling game that I like a whole bunch. It's cooperative. This one, it's nice to have a competitive game that has that same simultaneous die rolling, constantly trying to roll to get what you need. I find that to be very exciting. To me, that's really, really fun. So I approve of this one as well.
Good.
That's a very good one.
And then finally, number 1. And then we'll go to 0, which is phase 10. Okay, number 1. No, 0. Number 1 is Pro Burrito,
which we've also done a review of recently, and let me just say, this is another one that I can totally understand, even though it's not in my top 20 or...
It's got to be in your top 30.
It might be, just because it is hilariously fun, and honestly, it'd be nice. We've only played it with 3 players, and it goes up to 6. It'd be nice with even more players, because the chaos would be so insane.
Yeah.
I mean, this game... Not only do you get a good workout running around trying to do stuff, especially the way we do it, we end up running around the house chasing each other with these things.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I even went outside one time.
Probably so. I think you did one time.
And what's cool about this game is that you can basically do whatever you want. I mean, you could just get this burrito and go BAM! And you're trying to throw it at each other. So you could technically just get this little pumpkin and go, oh, I'm going to steal myself.
Yeah, you can steal myself. Yeah, you can do whatever you need to try to protect yourself. I mean, there's very few rules that restrict what you can do. For the most part, you can do almost anything you want, and it's just hilarious. But they also are so nice and soft and squishy.
And they look adorable.
Yeah, these things are great. Now, the actual card playing part of it is not that interesting. You're just trying to match cards.
But the thing is, they probably did it just because it's like a little break. Okay, now I can do cards. Then you're like, okay, let's get into it.
Because they just, the real focus is the burrito part, throwing burritos. The other part, although the good thing is, even though the card mechanic part is not just particularly exciting.
It is fun to see how it's a luck-based thing, but yeah, it's not that great.
But the cool part is it's not turn-based. You're all doing it live, so you're just constantly moving cards, trying to get your set of 3, and then triggering the next thing. So that's what makes it interesting. The fact that it's live, you're constantly doing something, and then once you trigger a battle, then you're grabbing the burrito trying to throw it at people. So
you're gonna lose. Boom.
It's just chaotic, fun,
it
and so lighthearted. It's just a great game. So
it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so
it is hilarious. It's a good game.
If you wanted to, you could just drop kick the burrito.
Yeah, I can really see why this is one of your number one. I mean, it's just great, and honestly, it's great for kids because it gets them. They get to burn that energy running around, but it's also hilarious for adults too because it's so goofy that you're grabbing these things and chunking them at each other, and you can throw them as hard as you want because they're so soft it doesn't hurt. It's just great.
I mean, honestly, I'd almost say this game is worth $100. I mean, it's
just for how
so
fun
good.
It is.
It's so fun and even a good workout. So
it is.
You know, you're getting both a workout and fun. That's a good deal. Just saying.
It is. It really is. So yeah, that's a great choice for number one. Lots of good choices. That is Crazycraft
Top 5 games
and two
honorable mentions.
So I'm overall all these games I do enjoy myself. I think they're all good choices, and hopefully y'all enjoyed this. If you have any thoughts or opinions, please leave them down in the comments. And,
yeah, it's a good thing because since you like these games, I thought I might have to use my heavy machine gun, but apparently I'm not, so I can just throw it, toss it. Yeah.
If you have any opinions, please let us know, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, it's Crazycraft and my favorite game is Phase 10.